Hey,
Ah,
watched an American documentary called American Factory.
yes, it was a very good documentary and it got an Oscar this year, 2020. How great of a documentary it must be if it won an Oscar. Yeah, really good.
Oscar liked it, and so do we.
Yay,
Katie.
Katie and JP. Ha!
JP.
JP, KD. Anyways, yeah, it was a very interesting documentary because you would think that a Chinese company who comes to America, built their satellite company here in America, would abide by safety regulations and just laws and regulations in general coming to another country. But it was shocking and also slightly appalling to me that they do not follow safety regulations, and quite frankly, they don't follow any rules or regulations here in America, which is crazy. In the documentary, it was told that like this company would take paint and chemicals and just dump it down the sewer when, people here in America, we don't do that because, it's illegal. You can't just dump stuff down the drains because it goes into the drinking water. So that was kind of scary. On top of that, when the chairman from China was visiting the satellite company here in America, somebody complained about the height regulation and things that were missing. And he said, why would I add or get rid of that? That would cost money. So I think it's just kind of crazy how the Chinese can kind of get away with it because, it's shocking to me because especially with that specific company, Fuyao, they're still running in business and I just don't know if they're still abiding by regulations because that's kind of scary.
Yeah, the company is interesting. Fuyao makes glass, and they make glass for car companies like Chrysler, Ford, GM, things like that nature. They make big glass panels for the cars. And what's interesting is that they basically, for the whole time, they're anti-union and they have anti-union marketers come in there, and as anti-union marketers have become people that, they're advocates against unions. They get paid money. That's a growing business while union membership is actually going down. So they've been very influential and successful in what they do. These anti-union advocates that they pay, that big businesses pay. So that's a big part of this thing because the Chinese company brings in old school methods of how capitalism used to be before labor laws, and there's laborers and workers' rights that came through mostly because of unions. Like they 5-day work week, 40 hours a week, holidays off, weekends off was mostly things spurred about by unions and people fighting for better working rights and safer places. And then you got places in third world countries or second world countries where they don't really have those laws, and it's like, oh my gosh, that's like going back to the dark ages because we have those rights now in America. So in China, actually, a lot of them only get like 2 days off in a month, and some don't see their kids for like maybe 1 or 2 times a year because they live far away from the plant, so they gotta actually travel to go back home. They live, or they live near the plant and then they gotta travel all the way back home because they got like a temporary living location near the place of work. So, and overtime there is mandatory, whereas over here we would get paid extra for it, and people could refuse, overtime in America. So the whole time there's like a culture clash of like people not going on, knowing what's going on with the other culture, and the Chinese are like, hey, these Americans are getting kind of lazy. The Americans are like, you guys work too hard, and there's no middle ground.
Yeah, that's about right. And I think it's kind of interesting to see the perspective of the Chinese workers saying, these people need to have mandatory overtime because we have mandatory overtime and they're just lazy. While in our perspective, it's kind of like what he said, you guys are working too much, you don't know the rights of, what we go through. Like we have unions, like, if you're hurt on the job, it's okay, you'll get like paid leave or, things like that in China, these things don't exactly exist.
Yeah, and some of those people got fired, and they also fired people that were union sympathizers, and people wanted to back the union, which later on actually Fuyao got sued and they had to shell out like somewhere around 100,000 So to help pay for these people that was illegal for them to fire people based on them being pro-union. So there's not everything they could get away with. There's still laws here in America. But people like Jeff Bezos and all the rich people, they definitely would love to be like Dale Carnegie used to be in Rockefeller, to completely take advantage of their workers and crush their souls, and to just have them work for them for basically almost nothing, no guarantee, and have a horrible life just so they could make more money and be ultra billionaire trillionaires. That's what they want, because even Jeff Bezos, you probably don't know, is actually someone who outsources a lot of his work, so he doesn't have to pay his actual workers like full time, 40 hours a week, give them the 40 hours and give them benefits, which would be a huge amount of money. So Amazon actually outsources a lot of jobs just so they could have those outsourced people work a few more hours that the regular workers don't work to get to 40, and then they don't have to pay benefits. And you would think he would be happy to help his people out that are helping Amazon be great and help pay for their benefits, but he doesn't want to do that. Not a true alpha male, like in the hunter-gatherer sense, because hunter-gatherer alpha males look out for the whole tribe. And Jeff Bezos, you ain't looking out for your tribe, and most rich businessmen are not looking out for their tribe, their workers.
Let's eliminate those alpha male and alpha female mentalities. Let's work as a group. We should work as a we. We.
That's another topic. Yeah, the topic of alpha male is misconstrued.
We're talking about Chinese company comes to America, but no. Unions are great, and every day I'm thankful for unions. A lot of people have some misconceptions about it. A lot of false information is being spread online and in the media, but unions are fantastic, and that's why we have 40-hour work weeks, why we get like holidays off. It's all thanks to the unions.
Yeah, a lot of 18th century, 19th century, 20th century battles were fought by unions to get all those rights. And people and workers uniting. It was cool to hear like the producer of this film say, "Workers of the world unite," which is a very Karl Marx thing to say. So she meant more through unionism, like a lot of actual beginning union people, like Uriah Stevens, who helped found the Knights of Labor, and also the Luther Brothers, who did one of the bigger auto industry unions.
Ford.
Not Ford.
Oh, it's not Ford?
No, that's a company. But those people actually fought for unions, but they were actually socialists or communists, but they understood they just had to work within capitalism through their unions to get things that would be seen as possibly socialists or communism. But they did that, and they helped get more better things and life standards for people in America overall, which was their point. So yeah, and the thing is, a lot of younger people don't understand that stuff, because when they had the votes to have unions at this place, Fuyao, it was like 800 no's to 400 yeses, and you thought it was because it was the Chinese, but there was only 200 Chinese workers there, so that means a lot of people voted no, and a lot of the workers, some of the workers were saying that's the younger people, and younger people don't understand what unions have done because they forgot to read the history books.
Yeah, but I was saying with the Ford thing, the Luther Brothers, they helped people that were working at the Ford companies because they were kind of gangster run, mobster run.
Wow.
Correct, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought so. Anyways, go unions.
Ford. Like a rock. And one of the best parts too I wanted to mention is just the culture clash, but you also see some of the Americans and Chinese hanging out, shooting guns, which Chinese and China can't have, and having Thanksgiving, and they're trying at least, they bring some Americans to China on a trip, so, they try, but obviously at the end of the day, it doesn't work as
two different cultures.
It's just hard to bridge the gap between the economic views of things right now until they do change. Yeah!
Going.
Yeah, union.
Union.